Hey gamers, Rick here with Game Trade Media coming to you live. We're still here at PAX Unplugged in the big demo hall, the big vendor hall here. I've got Chris from Brotherwise Games to show us a bit about Call to Adventure.
Yeah.
Welcome, Chris.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing? It's good to see you again.
Yeah, you as well. Is the show treating you good?
The show's great. PAX is a great show. The best way to describe it, it's like a casual show.
Yeah.
Everyone's relaxed. Everyone's having fun. Everyone's here to play games. I noticed it's grown a lot this year. The exhibitor hall is bigger, enrollments are bigger, so I think there's big things in store for this con.
I agree. And for those of you that have been watching us here on Twitch, you can see every once in a while Johnny's been posting up. You can see right there the crowd. And that's what it's like in every lane of this place. It is packed. So if you're missing PAX, you're missing out on a big and fun show. And by missing out, you're missing out on Brotherwise booth, which has so much cool stuff. But we're here to talk about this. Tell us about it.
Yeah. So we are running demos of Call to Adventure.
Okay.
Call to Adventure is our third title. We actually talked about this at Gen Con a little bit, but we only had some prototype copies there. We now have production copies, and they should be in stores in late January.
Nice.
Is our target. Call to Adventure is a hero crafting game. Is born out of our love of heroic fantasy fiction.
Okay.
And our desire to gamify that. So we had all these fantasy stories that we loved where they weren't necessarily about wars. They weren't necessarily about slaying dragons. Sometimes they were about how the hero came together.
Sure.
So we wanted to create a game where the small moments mattered as much as the big moments. And in Call to Adventure, what you do is you craft a hero. You start every game with an origin.
Okay.
This one happens to be the Sailor. And each origin has an ability and some starting characteristics.
How odd that we'd grab the Sailor.
Is it the Sailor?
Yeah. I was a sailor for 20 years.
Oh, in the Navy?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. My best friend is a Navy man. You get a motivation. The motivation is sort of what tells you how you're going to play the game a little bit differently than everybody else.
All right.
And you have a destiny, which tells you your win conditions, so how you're going to score the game different from everybody else.
Nice.
So every game is different. There's 15 of each of these in the base game.
All right.
And so lots and lots of possible combinations. And it means that when you approach every story that you're creating as you go through here, it's going to be a different story.
Cool.
During the game, you take that character, and you either pick up some traits, like maybe your sailor is inventive, and so they pick up the inventive trait, and they've now got an extra point of intelligence, and they've got a pick up an anti-hero card there, and they pick up a story icon.
Okay.
Or maybe they want to face a challenge, and in this case, the challenges, and we've got murder mystery here. I'm going to have you hold this up for them.
All right.
So each challenge has 2 paths that they can take, and 2 abilities that can be applied to that. So in this case, our sailor would be casting the runes to see if they can meet this challenge's difficulty of 5. They could apply a wisdom, they could apply an intelligence thing there, and if they wanted, they can spend some of their experience points, which are these little guys here, to maybe add in a dark rune.
Ooh.
The dark runes give you a little extra oomph, but if you cast the moon, then you acquire a little darkness. It's sort of like turning to the dark side to make something happen. Maybe you got angry, maybe you got violent. You made something happen there. Eventually, we cast the runes, and this is the most satisfying part of this game. And you read the runes and see what you got. In this case, I got 2 successes. Each of the hash mark is worth 1. That's 5. That murder mystery had a difficulty of 5. I passed that. I also get to pick up a hero or an anti-hero card.
Nice.
These are kind of like spells that help you modify what you're doing in the game or affect your opponents. And I can take that guy, and maybe I went for conceal your crime, and I'm turning a little bit to the dark side. I picked up a villainy story icon. I picked up some of those darker tragedy points. And that actually makes sense because my motivation leads me to a destiny as the Force of Darkness, and the Force of Darkness character actually gets more points if they've gone darker on, we're not going to be able to see this very easily, but each character has a darkness track that they follow that affects their endpoints and affects what hero and anti-hero cards they can play.
That's pretty cool.
It's very cool.
The hero card would be here, and they just kind of lay out on this.
Exactly. We'd put it right out there. We do the player boards so that's a little bit easier to sort of keep track of everything, and they have the key to the runes down there as well.
Nice.
It's a very, we put a lot of love into this game. One of the things that I really like is it's actually got a removable rune tray, so you can pull out the runes here with a locking lid.
Nice.
And you take that off, and it makes the runes a lot easier to grab during the game that you have there.
Nice.
So
it looks like there's a lot of cards. I mean, this can't obviously be all the cards in this game.
It's not. We've got a bunch of them here in the box. It's actually close to 200 cards.
Ooh.
And the neat thing about this, Rick, is it's infinitely expandable. And in fact, later this summer, we'll be releasing an expansion based on Patrick Rothfuss's Name of the Wind series.
Okay.
So one of the best-selling fantasy series of all time.
Right.
Those will be cards that you'll shuffle into this deck.
Okay.
You'll curate the deck a little bit, take out some of the things that don't fit, and you'll be able to build a character in his world.
Nice.
And then later in 2019, we're having the Stormlight Archive. So Brandon Sanderson, who many of your viewers are going to recognize, one of the top-selling fantasy authors of all time.
Right.
We're doing a world set in his Stormlight Archives.
Wow.
And we can just keep expanding that. So if you have a favorite world that you want to play in, let Brotherwise Games know. Maybe we can get that author to collaborate with us.
Michael Moorcox.
Like Michael Moorcox, Jim Butcher,
Okay.
Ursula K. Le Guin.
Was it Demon Wars?
There's so many we could pull from.
Yeah, there's so many.
It's really fun. We're demoing it right now over at the booth.
Okay. What booth is that?
That is booth 2339, Brotherwise Games.
Okay.
You can also play Unearth and the latest expansion of Boss Monster, which is Rise of the Mini Bosses.
Nice. That's a lot. That's some good stuff.
It's fun stuff. We're continuing to grow as a company, and I'll tell you, being at a place like this just reinforces what a great industry it is to grow in.
Absolutely.
Everyone here is supportive. Everyone's rooting for you.
Yeah.
And it's really terrific.
It is. I love it. I love seeing everybody come up here and get excited about the stuff that they're selling, producing, and checking out this game. It's like if someone out there is watching this and they're like, "Man, I'm having writer's block."
Yeah.
And I want to create a cool character for a story. Or an arch villain for a game or something like that. You could actually, let's play a game before the game to create those villains or those heroes that we want to introduce to our...
It primes the imagination.
It does.
And we heard that from a number of people that they would use this as writing prompts or as D&D campaign prompts or hero prompts.
Nice.
So the great thing is, at the end of this, you've got your story laid out here. So each of these cards is going to have a set of experiences under it, and then at the end, each player goes around and tells the story of their hero.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, it's pretty fun.
That is pretty cool.
It's great. So it's sort of like it's a little bit like a storytelling game with action decisions that are meaningful, mechanics laid on top of that.
So when you cast the runes earlier, you did do the dark. You got the dark thing, so that means that you have to take the darkness.
What actually happens there is I'm going to move down the darkness track here. And so as I move down the darkness track, I actually can pick up a few points. It's okay to get a little evil.
Okay.
Like we're not trying to say that the darkness track is evil.
Sure.
It means that you may be doing things in a way that is not necessarily healthy. We get,
Sure.
you know, we say.
All right.
But if you get too dark, then you start to lose points.
All right.
And you also lose the ability to cast these hero cards.
Okay, that makes sense.
So. And those can be really key to sort of doing what you want to do in the game. They represent sort of feats of heroism or feats of anti-heroism.
Okay, I love it. Very cool.
It's really fun. We want everyone to check it out. It'll be in stores, again, end of January, early February.
All right.
And the expansions will follow up later this year.
Cool. And if anybody out there is watching and they want to check out all the stuff coming out of Brotherwise, where can they go to see all that?
They can check it out. Best place is probably our Facebook page. Just look for Brotherwise Games, but also at brotherwisegames.com, all one word.
All right. There you have it, everybody. We just want to make sure you guys go check that out. Make sure you go to your local game store, your friendly local game store, and let them know, hey, I saw Call to Adventure on Game Trade Media. I'd like to have that in my pull box so that they'll pre-order it for you, and it'll be right there and available so you don't miss out. Because I have a feeling something like this is going to be on the shelves for a very short time. People are going to grab it up.
There's been a lot of interest so far.
Good. Rick here from Game Trade Media, live from PAX Unplugged. We'll be right back. But until then, check out all this cool stuff we got going on.